Singapore has been promised over 1,300 kilometres of cycling paths by 2030. Over the years, there has been a continuous expansion of cycling networks and a relentless push for cycling towns. This then draws the question, is there quantity over quality? Back in the 1940s, bicycles were the primary mode of transport, with a peak in the 1960s before it got phased out. It was not until the late 1990s that certain concessions were made, and when cycling re-entered the scene in the 2000s, there was a lot of catching up to do. The first wave was in 2007 when Tampines GRC pushed for legalization of bicycles on footpaths. Ever since then, there has been conscious effort to design cycling towns. The slow transition into cycling towns was then completely disrupted by COVID, leaving much to be desired. Just from the news headlines itself, we can start picking out some problems over this past year. Fleeting bike sharing schemes, the disruption caused by delivery cyclists, growing tensions, and ongoing policy battles. Which brings us to our problem statement. In Singapore's highly dense cityscape, connectivity is key, and cycling is a viable transport mode to cut through the high vehicle traffic for short distance travels. However, the unprecedented influx of delivery cyclists and the post-pandemic boost in cycling numbers have further aggravated road tensions. There is a revitalization of this scene, and this thesis seeks a dynamic approach in response to these conditions. This is done by reimagining Singapore's cycling infrastructure with a renewed focus on the who, where, and how we are going to design under challenging circumstances. The target site is a Golden Village multiplex in Yishun and its 400-meter cycling radius. It is divided into subzones, making it super dense and consequently having to travel long distances to get to the nearest MRT. As for infrastructural barrier, the sheer density of the Yishun Integrated Transport Hub makes it hard for quick access from one point to another. Here are the cyclists that we are designing for. The delivery cyclists are best known for their efficiency, with the highest level of spatial awareness overall. Recreational cyclists flock in large groups and tend to be more skillful, especially for those who have a taste and feel of riding on the roads. The casual cyclists make up the majority of Singaporeans, often cycling to socialize with friends or the occasional grocery runs, making them the least equipped behind the handlebars. And here are the methods we will use to design for these groups. With object detection, we can analyze key scenarios that are typically experienced by delivery cyclists. Then we catalog a list of design recommendations that answer to these problems. Through observational studies, we can identify typical behaviors of cyclists as they dismount and interact with the built environment. This is an opportunity to design modular urban furniture that complements these habits. And lastly, with the help of a participatory design tool, we are able to include more cyclists in the design process and invite them to take ownership of the local cycling community. To summarize, there are 3 scales of design: the urban scale, the human scale, and the building scale. In the next part of my presentation, I will demonstrate how each intervention comes together to form a design kit that can be used to transform GV Yishun into a Velo hub.